Hello, Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor, coming at you for news, views, and weekly updates. And again, as I always mention, all of the information that we're going to be discussing in this live can be found, storehoused in our private group, My Family, My Mission. If you've not joined that private group yet, got a couple of thousand people in there, part of our wellness community, My Family, My Mission, private group inside of Facebook. Go there, join. That way you can get access not only to the resources we put out each week, but each day there are resources that are put in there, videos, various forms of content. So we want you to be part of that group. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. And of course, as I mentioned last week, we have our very important masterclass coming up this upcoming Tuesday, September 23rd, 6:30 p.m., right here at the office. We do it right in the front of the office, and it's a blast. We learn, we grow, we elevate together. It is the Heart Smart Masterclass. And what are we going to be talking about? How to keep it beating, right? You got a heart, you want to keep it beating. That's the most important thing. First criteria, first objective to meet, keep it beating. So you're going to come, when you come and you go through this masterclass, you're going to learn just amazing content. You're going to learn all the cutting edge knowledge, information that's out there. And really what it all comes down to is lifestyle. Lifestyle is the only way long-term to build a healthy heart and to keep a healthy heart. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this upcoming Tuesday at the office, 6:30 p.m., September 23rd. We want you here. So I'm going to give you today's segment is going to be on giving you kind of a sneak peek on what we'll be talking about, what we'll be discussing. And as it really comes down to with every single masterclass that we do, and interestingly enough, with tomorrow being the 130th birthday of Chiropractic, September 18th, 1895. September 18th, 1895, 130 years ago, Chiropractic was founded, founded. A deaf janitor, Harvey Lillard, in Davenport, Iowa, on Brady Street in Davenport, Iowa, in the Ryan Building, a National Historic Landmark. And this is where Dr. D.D. Palmer, Daniel David Palmer, who was not a chiropractor yet, but he discovered chiropractic by having a conversation with a man, a janitor by the name of Harvey Lillard. And Harvey Lillard had been deaf for 17 years, reported somehow or another they were able to communicate, him and D.D. Palmer. And Dr. D.D. Palmer discovered that he had been deaf for 17 years previous to that conversation. He was bending over, stooped down. He heard something crack in his back, in his upper back, in his neck, and he was left deaf for 17 years. Dr. D.D. Palmer figured out what was going on, made it, really at that time, it was a crude adjustment, and this man's hearing was restored. The profession of chiropractic began with a deaf man having his hearing restored. Now, what's very important to note is that chiropractic, thankfully, D.D. Palmer was smart enough to realize that he had not found the cure for deafness, okay? Because that would have been tragic had he said, hey, Eureka, I found a cure for deafness. So just adjust the neck and people's hearing, we're going to go on tour now and make all the deaf hear. That's not what he said. Basically, he ascertained that bones out of alignment, vertebrae out of alignment, you got 24 movable vertebrae and a sacrum and a coccyx. When these bones are out of alignment or regions of the spine are out of alignment, it impedes, interferes, messes with the normal communication. You can see it over here. I'll kind of turn it a little bit. There's our chart, right? The brain is signaling through that spine, the spinal cord delivering electrical information into the body, into the organs and glands. And simply stating what he discovered and what he stated is that when these vertebrae move out of alignment, they put stress and strain and tension on the spinal cord and the nerves, which disrupts the normal communication energy flow into the body. If the body's not getting what it needs in the way of communication, because the spine is the foundation of all health and healing in the body, it carries all life from the brain down and out. If the body is starved of what it needs communication-wise from the brain, because the spine is subluxated, out of alignment, blocking, interfering, distorting the normal communication, the body will fall into a state of dis-ease, off balance, it will lose its homeostasis, its equilibrium, and then it will move toward a state of sickness, illness, dis-ease. In a state of dis-ease or lack of balance, that's a ripe environment, a fertile ground for the growth and development of disease and sickness, illness. So that's what he discovered 130 years ago, that if I put these bones back in alignment, the body now has the right communication, clear communication, and the power which made the body, which lives in the body, the great physician, as we call it, can now mend and heal and cure the body once those lines of communication are open. Really, so in essence, what he discovered or rediscovered was really just simply the chiropractic discovery was the power of the human body to heal, maintain itself, cure itself when it can communicate with itself properly. It can interpret, understand itself. It can adapt well. It can do the things that it was programmed, designed to do without interference. And when it can do that, it can mend and heal and cure on its own. So the discovery of chiropractic was simply removing the interference, removing the structural, biostructural impediment to the brain sending power, life, and healing into the body, and giving back the body what it needs to mend and heal itself. That really was the discovery of chiropractic. And really what we do each and every day, what I do as a chiropractor, is not to cure or heal. It's just simply getting the body back to really what I call factory settings, restoring it back to really what it's always known to do in the first place, which is to heal well. So tomorrow, the big 130th birthday celebration. So just wanted to lay that on you, lay that out. And again, we'll be talking about the spine and so much more on September 23rd, this upcoming Tuesday at the Heart Smart Masterclass. So I'll give you a little bit of a sneak preview here in regards to what we'll be discussing, what we'll be talking down. And, one of the things that we know, heart disease, heart conditions, arrhythmias, cardiac arrest, heart failure, clogged arteries. There's so many different categories of heart issues under the category of heart disease. Many, many different types of conditions. Arrhythmias, tachycardia, fast bradycardia, slow, fast heartbeats, rhythms, rhythmic issues. There's a lot of different things. And more than ever, we're seeing heart issues come through the door. The issues are only getting worse. The amount of people dying from heart disease climbing every year. The amounts of heart attacks, heart strokes, all of these things, heart-related issues have just grown in the past years and just continue to grow in number. And that is in spite of the amount of medications, the amount of procedures, ablations, medications, blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications. There's more of that stuff than ever before, but more heart sickness and disease than ever before. So there's got to be a better way, and that's why we're having the master class. A lot of people, I've actually had a couple of people say to me, what gives you the right to teach a class or a master class on heart? Are you a cardiologist? No, but I've got a lot of really healthy patients, and I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And the one thing I do know is how to get a body healthy and keep it healthy with my training and my degrees. And that also includes the heart. Okay. My job, I'm not a cardiologist who treats a sick heart or does procedures on the heart, but I am a doctor who focuses on getting the body healthy and well and keeping it that way. And that's why we do all of these different masterclass topics throughout the year, because really the theme is the same. There's a common thread running through all the different topics that we talk about. And really what it comes down to are the same principles. The same principles are applied to every single condition, whether it's heart health, brain health, immune system health, thyroid health, hormone health, whatever it is, bone health, whatever it may be, the same principles apply. The body will get well and stay well if you remove interference to the normal functionings of the human body. And it all comes down to the 3 T's: trauma, thoughts, toxins. So we're going to talk about at this masterclass coming up. We're going to talk about the drugs that are given out, the side effects of these drugs. We're going to be talking about the importance of cholesterol, the importance of having a good, healthy cholesterol level. Okay. And, I was having this conversation, there's major confusion regarding what a normal cholesterol level should be, what a normal total cholesterol should be. And the main reason why there's so much confusion is because many times the whole picture is not looked at. The only way to get a complete cholesterol or blood lipid picture is by creating ratios. Total cholesterol over HDL ratio. You want that under 5, optimally under 3, or under 3.5. LDL HDL ratio. And then, of course, you have the triglyceride HDL ratio. All these are stroke and heart attack indicators, risk indicators. But again, the one thing that we know about total cholesterol, which we're going to be talking about at the master class, is you don't want to monkey with it. You don't want to manipulate it. You don't want to drive it too low. If your total cholesterol is low naturally, far south of 200 naturally, well, maybe that's just where it needs to be. Okay, and we're going to talk about cholesterol. We're going to talk about the myths of cholesterol. We're going to be talking about the biological facts and the great cholesterol medication con and scam. Some of the other things we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the pathways when you take a cholesterol medication, what the cholesterol medication does adversely to the biochemical pathways of the human body. You're going to be learning about that and why there are so many side effects with cholesterol-lowering medications. So a lot of research I bring a lot of references and citations and medical references and resources as to everything that I talk about regarding the heart. It's all from PubMed. It's all from the medical journals, scientific literature, highly referenced scientific journals. So the reason we do these master classes is to arm and equip our community with knowledge that they're not getting anywhere else. Anything you're going to look up, you go to Dr. Google, you go anywhere, Facebook, social media, Dr. Google, and you type in information about these pharmaceuticals, high blood pressure medications, high cholesterol medications, so on and so forth. You're going to get a very slanted view. Even in ChatGPT, you're going to be getting a consensus viewpoint, and you're also going to get a viewpoint that's manipulated by the pharmaceutical companies because the media and the messaging, the pharmaceutical messaging, is controlled by big pharma. So you're very limited in what you can get in regards to a two-sided story. You're going to only get one side, and you're not going to get really what the true impact of the medications are. And you're not really going to get the full statin. You're not going to get the full blood lipid and really the true heart story. And that's really the purpose of the master classes, is to really, in a way, give you an unbiased view of heart health and the medications and everything else that's behind building a healthy, strong heart and keeping a healthy, strong heart. I'm a chiropractor. I have my hands on patients all day long. My primary role is to remove subluxation. But I also know that knowledge is power, and an unbiased delivery of that knowledge and a presentation in a way of just giving my patients what they need. I don't stand up in front of my master classes and say, hey, I'm anti-medication. You shouldn't take blood pressure medications. You shouldn't take statins. You shouldn't do this. All this stuff is bad, horrible. All you want to do is get adjusted, take herbs. That's not what I talk about. In fact, there is a time and place, a very strong time and place for the medications. But my angle on it is to make sure that there's a balanced perspective on the usage of medications, on how to use lifestyle as medicine, and how to get your body as strong as healthy so it could complement a healthy chiropractic lifestyle. That's the purpose of the master classes. And so my perspective is not necessarily biased toward a non-prescription lifestyle. It's simply giving patients, giving the community the knowledge they need to make the most well-informed choices and decisions regarding their health, their heart, short and long term. Patients figure out what's best for them, but you can't do that if you're not given informed consent, you're not given a balanced perspective, and you can't really make decisions within that frame of reference. So some of the other things we're going to be discussing: what is normal blood pressure? What are the most up-to-date, latest reports on blood pressure say? What are the biggest myths in cardiology? What actually happens when you have a group of 4 people in a study, one of the largest studies that's been done regarding this topic, but hypertension, high blood pressure. In fact, this is from the journal Hypertension the American Heart Association, they did a study with people who have high blood pressure taking blood pressure medications to bring their blood pressure down. People have high blood pressure and took no medications to reduce their blood pressure or high blood pressure. People who have blood pressure, they have high blood pressure, okay, but the blood pressure medication brought them into a normal range, like brought their blood pressure down from like 150/90 to like 115/70. And then you have people who have normal blood pressure and they take no drugs. Well, the group in this study who did the worst, the people with the highest risk group, the people who had normal blood pressure while they're taking the blood pressure medication. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the masterclass, but that's something you may want to know. If you're taking a blood pressure medication and the blood pressure medication has you in a normal range, why would your risk be still incredibly high of having a heart attack or stroke? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, it does if you look at it through the perspective or the lens, thinking, okay, if my blood pressure is high or higher than normal or higher than it normally is, or higher according to the normal guidelines, if my blood pressure was once at 115/70, and over the last few years, it's crept up to like now running at 145/95, like, why is that happening? There's a reason. There's a cause. If you go to the medical doctor, God bless them, they're trained this way. They're not bad people. They're just trained this way. Say, okay, if you're here with your blood pressure, my job as an MD, a medical doctor, I always kid around, MD stands for more dope. and their job is to give you a medication. That's what they do, to drive that blood pressure down into a normal range, what they consider normal. But how come these same people still have heart attacks, strokes just as often as people, according to at least one study, who are doing nothing to lower the blood pressure, right? The reason why, because you still have not gotten to the cause for the reason as to why that blood pressure is climbing, continues to climb high. You have artificially suppressed your blood pressure into a normal range. Don't think you're healthy now. That's not how it works. The doctors told you that you now have lowered your risk of having a heart attack, which is not necessarily true, but you now just think that you're maybe healthier while the cause of the issue marches on unaddressed. That's the danger in taking the medications. That's why, again, at the masterclass, we try to figure, is there a better way? Well, of course, we know that lifestyle studies, the Morgan study and others, have shown up to a 65% lower risk of cardiovascular disease development, 83% lower risk of having a fatal CVD event like a heart attack. So study after study have proven that not a drug on the planet can touch lifestyle intervention, including getting adjusted. Of course, we teach our patients how to stack these strategies one on top of the other, so you amplify, radically magnify the benefits of lifestyle. We're going to talk about things like sauna. We're going to be talking about all kinds of lifestyle changes, not just getting adjusted, but nutrition, supplementation. We're going to be talking about the most critical factor in heart health. And I'm going to even say this, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'll probably get some hate mail from chiropractors for saying this, but even above and beyond the adjustment, I will tell you, at least from my own personal experience, something that will impact your heart health more than anything else. And I call it, we talk about the 3 T's: trauma or structure, physical, spine out of alignment, blocking the normal function of the body, the heart. You have the 3 T's: trauma, thoughts, toxins, or you could look at it this way: physical, emotional, or chemical stress. So we talked about physical, chiropractic, biomechanical. We talked about chemical, nutritional, dietary. And then the emotional, we term it stinking thinking. Your thoughts, your chronic stressful thoughts will cause heart disease, clogged arteries, inflamed arteries to grow, develop faster than any single factor. In fact, I was listening to research the other day regarding Dr. Dean Ornish. Many out there in cyber world have heard that name before, Dr. Dean Ornish. He was a pioneer in lifestyle intervention, heart disease intervention. One of the big studies that he did was showing the reversal of heart disease and plaque formation, reversing heart disease by way of dietary changes. He was a big plant-based guy, vegan guy. And years later, what they found, many different doctors and scientists went to kind of try to replicate the study. And what has been found is there were other lifestyle interventions that went along with diet. It wasn't just, hey, eat a lot of plants, eat a lot of vegetables, and your heart disease and plaques will reverse. It wasn't just that in the studies. So years later, it was revealed that there were other interventions that went along with the dietary changes, like meditation, Tai Chi and yoga, and different stress-reducing techniques, prayer. So what's been found in many studies that have replicated that study, it's been shown that the one thing that really made the impact across the board, and when you bring this lifestyle intervention in, regardless of the diet, it could be keto, paleo, it could be Mediterranean, I mean, high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat, whatever. Regardless of the diet, it showed that the stress reducing techniques and technology, including sleeping well, which is a major stress management technique, like reducing stress, which reduces the stress hormone cortisol. You reduce that hormone, reduces inflammation in the arteries, reduces plaques, and reverses plaques, had the greatest impact on heart health and heart disease reversal. That's a big deal right there. So we're going to talk about that quite a bit. The masterclass, many different ways to manage stress. We're going to talk about, of course, as we always do, the spine's direct wiring involvement into the heart health. The major factor in heart health is the biostructural innervation, the nerves coming out right in the top of the thoracic spine, the lower neck, literally wired right into the heart and into the four chambers of the heart, into the valves of the heart, the bicuspid, the tricuspid, literally controlling the valves, controlling the muscular contractions, controlling it all. So we're going to be talking about that. And then, of course, probably everybody's favorite part of the master class is I go through at the master class the exact heart panel, the gold standard, the current gold standard for checking your heart blood marker wise yearly or biannually, the exact markers you want to get. You don't want to just get tested. You want to get accurate testing. Half of these markers, your doctor and cardiologist will leave off your panel every time they go to check you. So I'm going to give you literally the gold standard in terms of accurate heart marker testing. And we also go through the leading supplements, herbs, vitamins, like what are the key things that your heart, key nutrients that your heart needs, including the specific amino acids and minerals that your heart needs to beat properly, for the electrical conduction to move through your heart properly, the key nutrients you need to make sure you avoid arrhythmias, that you avoid misfirings in your heart, make sure that your heart and your vessels operate properly. What are those key nutrients? We're going to be discussing all of that, of course, and more. So there's a little sneak peek for you. Please come out. If you've been, many of my patients who've been with me for 25 years or longer, a quarter century or longer, there are patients of mine who've been to hundreds of these master classes and they keep coming back. They may have been to dozens and dozens of the heart master classes, but they keep coming back because they know that they're always updated, they're modified, they're improved upon, they're enhanced. There's new information, new data that's coming out that you want to know about. that's being upgraded and being brought current. So if you come regularly, come again. If you have not been for a while, please join us. And if you are coming as a guest, maybe you're not a patient, maybe you're listening in the community and you live close by and you want to come, but you're not a patient, you've never been to the office, I extend a warm invitation to you. Come, just grab a seat. If you are so inclined, come up to me, introduce yourself, but you could just come as a passive attendee, sit in the crowd, learn, grow. And if you don't even want to come up and introduce yourself, just then leave, just come get the information, be part of our health and wellness community. And there's nothing more powerful than attending in person. There's just that immersion learning experience when you're here. It's very different than just watching it on a video or YouTube, whatnot. So again, September 23rd, 6:30 p.m. It's a Tuesday, right out here. Heart Smart Nutrition and other topics that we cover. And as always, I appreciate you joining me here this Wednesday. Dr. Dan Yachter, the chiropractor, signing off for My Family, My Mission. God bless.